for a limited time, $1 gets you full access to all the automotive industry news and content CBTNews.com has to offer. CBT News. Subscribe today. Welcome to CBT News with Bridget Fitzpatrick.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to CBT News. I'm Bridget Fitzpatrick. Thank you so much for joining us. Here's Chris Riggins with today's top stories.
Thanks, Bridget. Starting off our newscast, according to a new survey, roughly 1/3 of all U.S. customers would be open to buying an EV. The consumer poll, hosted by Reuters and Ipsos, found that 34% of Americans would consider purchasing one of the 80 electric models on the domestic market. Political affiliation played a heavy role in predicting buyer sentiments, with Democrat respondents being almost twice as likely to consider an EV than their Republican counterparts. Up next, two major insurance companies are refusing to cover certain Hyundai and Kia models after a social media trend caused thefts to skyrocket. Last year, TikTok users discovered that the keyless ignition system in certain vehicles had some major security flaws, a revelation which led to the posting of viral videos demonstrating the exploit. Although Hyundai has made several attempts to fix the situation, both Progressive and State Farm have temporarily halted new applications on multiple models made between 2015 and 2021. In its annual vehicle design contest, Stellantis is asking students to submit their concepts for the future of a Ram truck. The 11-year-old competition has helped shape multiple careers in automotive design and awards winners with internship opportunities, scholarships, and digital art equipment. For 2023, contestants are tasked with creating an electric pickup coinciding with the reveal of Ram's first battery-powered vehicle, the 1500 REV. Students looking to participate must be in grades 10 through 12 and enter their submissions before April 21st. And last but not least, on Monday, Volkswagen subsidiary Scout Motors received $1.3 billion in state incentives to build a $2 billion factory in South Carolina. The facility will manufacture electric SUVs and pickups and is expected to open in 2026. The funds will be used for key elements such as waste management, soil stabilization, a new highway interchange, and supply chain systems. CEO Scott Keogh commented that South Carolina was absolutely ready for the new plant and attributed the partnership to the state's educated workforce and pre-existing infrastructure. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next is Jeremy Beaver, CEO of Del Grande Dealer Group in Northern California. We'll be right back.
Delivering the news dealers count on for 10 years. Subscribe today and join thousands of other automotive professionals. CBT News, 10 years strong.
Dealerships have made tremendous strides, especially in the past few years, to give their customers the experiences they want, ultimately driving the industry forward. On today's show, we're pleased to be joined by the CEO of Del Grande Dealer Group in Northern California, Jeremy Beaver, to learn how his dealerships have adapted and what's happening today. Take a look.
So talk to me about your business. How are you getting cars back in? Where do you stand in terms of a day supply across the board? And are you now back to discounting vehicles?
Yeah, we are. Obviously, the market has really changed from 2022 into 2023. The supply continues to get better on new cars. It creeps up really kind of on a day-to-day basis. Demand has still really stayed strong, but it's in general a little bit softer on those over MSRP margin vehicles. Mm-hmm. So for us as an organization where there was some vehicles that were sold over MSRP in 2022, we're pretty much at MSRP and below on almost all of the product, depending on our makes and models. Our used car supply still really remains strong. We focused on that in 2022 from our sourcing strategy. Mm-hmm. Ability to buy cars from the public have been a real big shot in the arm for us, but it's not easy, that's for sure. Yeah.
Do you feel as though you'll keep that element in place where you're purchasing vehicles off the road like that? Is that something that is here to stay?
Yeah, I think, again, with all the new cars that have not been sold over the last couple years, we know that supply for all of the dealers across the country is going to continue to be tough, whether it's off-lease vehicles that came back from auction or really the general auction supply. Right. Our ability to go find local cars from our communities has been a really critical piece for us to keep the number of supply of used vehicles that we want.
Yeah, for sure. Have you seen any vehicles coming in from 2020 where they're now going to trade them in, or they want to trade them in, but they might owe a little bit more money than they'd like on those vehicles?
We haven't seen too much of it being on that over yet. We still have some customers that bought the cars in 2019 that are coming back here, and their cars are still worth a little bit more than what that residual was, and so,
sure,
which is great. But we do know that is going to be coming. We know that there is going to be a change when we look back in a year or two, and there's going to be those vehicles that, from a lease perspective, are just going to be dropped off.
Yeah.
And what we have seen and had some great relationships and critical with our captives and our OEMs, that they are really, really positive around those cars coming back at market-based pricing when they do,
right,
which should be, again, another really healthy supply for the dealers in the United States.
All right, be sure to watch this interview in its entirety right here at CBTnews.com. That wraps up our show for today, but we invite you to join us back here again tomorrow morning for all the latest news and trends impacting the retail automotive industry. And of course, be sure to follow us on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm Bridget Fitzpatrick. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
CBT News, your #1 resource for auto industry news and content. Join the #1 most watched newscast in the automotive industry. CBT News. Subscribe today.